crazy.
Woohoo! Howdy, trick-or-treaters, tweens, and tragic heroes. We are here for the final hour of the Horror Companion Pinebox Middle School double feature Kickstarter, which you all have blown out of the waters. It's been so amazing. Let me pull up the screen just so we can record this for posterity. And but man, I think over 1,700 backers, which is just fantastic. And we're nearing over 169,000. So that's a really good number, both of those. We have an hour to go. So just in case you haven't got in on this yet, let me put this link in the comments and get on it, because you want to get in while the getting is good. So you get those discounted shipping that's only applicable if you back during the Kickstarter. And then there's some really good Kickstarter exclusive pricing, especially on the all-in that everybody gets everything. And then there's even an add-on if you haven't been part of the East Texas University yet. East Texas University Universe, or East Texas Universe. We like that. I think Ed came up with that one finally. You can pick that up for the all-in, where you get all of the past ETU stuff. And that's going to be a good deal, because we are doing ETU 2 coming up here in the future. So this is not a line that's going away anytime soon. So let's run through what you guys get for all the good stuff. So there's the Horror Companion, which continues the tradition of buffing out Suede with new rules. The really exciting thing about the Horror Companion is there's over 100 monsters in the bestiary, and we get licensed Chaosium Cthulhu Mythos monsters, which is the best ever.
And I laugh every time I see over 100 monsters, because it's like way over 100.
I like the little plus we get to put on stuff, right? It sounds like the pawns. Like, we never know how many pawns you guys are going to unlock, so it's like 40 plus pawns, 50 plus pawns. So we can't make Cthulhu a pawn. Sorry. Maybe the house you're playing in, you can spray paint it green. But he will not, or he, she, or it will not fit on a pawn sheet. But we are going to have plenty.
GM, you're Cthulhu now. Like, that's it. Yeah.
Right? So why don't you guys, who had to recently start statting those out, talk a little bit about why I show the page? Why don't you talk about what it's like statting up Lovecraftian horrors?
It's super fun, right? Because when we talked about this Tuesday, it's like you kind of get to take the gloves off, because like there's no thought to being fair. No. like that's super not the point here.
Balance?
Yeah, right. This is not supposed to be like a fight that you do. It's like, nope, this is what it is. Yeah. You know, you're all gonna die.
Shouldn't have fought it.
Yeah. I jokingly thought about adding environmental weakness steamships. I decided to take the more serious route.
If you're not crashing a machine into it, you're not damaging it at all, people. Oh my god! So yeah, you guys unlocked a real ton. We got all the stretch goals have been unlocked. People were like, we should do another stretch goal. There are some cool things that might end up being part of this package that we can't tell you about now, because they're still in development. And we're like, let's not make it a stretch goal. Let's just throw it in if it works out. If not, whatever. So it might even get even sweeter. No promises, but there are some cool things that the team has been working on. They just might end up in all your baskets, or the people who back at appropriate levels. But the let's see. Let's run through these kicks. So the playable monsters is huge. You can be a werewolf or a vampire or an undead, or there's a bunch of them. There's a good half a dozen at least playable monsters.
Oh yeah, there's the Phantom. There's the Patchwork Man. Let's see. Yeah, vampire, werewolf, the Revenant, which is like plus. We're like, originally it was zombie, and then we're like, meh, and then Shane was like, Revenant. Okay. They're going to be plus, angry, vengeful, the Crow, right? It's the Crow archetype.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So that one's huge. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to love to see your guys' feedback on how that works at your table. Obviously, we love throwing in more physical stuff. So a bunch of adversary cards, more archetype cards. The rules for Clubhouse, we talked about that on a previous stream. That's really cool. A very kids on bikes style take on what is in the Horror Companion, and is in very similar to what's in the Superpowers Companion for bases and all that kind of stuff. So that's really cool for ETU, for Pinebox Middle School, because your kids can have them too. And that's awesome. I do like, so I've seen some of the back and forth, you guys talking in the chat about like, what kind of relics should we throw away? What kind of curveballs? You guys want to mention any of them or as a tease?
I don't know of any of the horror relics. I know of some of the
Pinebox talismans, which are a little different than the relics, right?
Well, yeah, speak to those, and then we'll have the horror guys mention that
Sure.
certain puzzle box in case you've got pins in your face.
So
or want pins in your face.
Yeah.
So talismans are basically items that kids cannot make because it's sort of it's beyond their ability. It sort of corrupt them too much to try to make a talisman, but you can find them, right? And they're pieces of equipment or pieces of or things that you can tap to cast powers, right? And tapping them is kind of dangerous. It requires a spirit roll -2. And if you fail, something happens. If you critical fail, something worse happens. But if you succeed, then you get the power, right? That it has in it. Some of them have limited use, especially the more offensive ones. Like there's a great one. I think this was Scott's idea. The dart gun. Was that yours, Scott?
I don't remember if it was, but
there's a great dart gun.
Take credit now, hurry.
Yeah, right.
There's a great dart gun that I definitely didn't write. That it has darts in it, and it functions as a normal dart gun. But if you use its trigger, you roll your spirit at -2, and if you succeed, and if you blow over the barrel like this right before you shoot it, it turns into a bolt power.
Do you feel lucky punk move?
Yeah, kind of. So, and then there's limited use. There's only a certain number of darts, and once you run out, and that's it. But some of the more non-offensive, combative powers are not limited use, and you can sort of use them as you will. So, or as you can try. Like one of the ones that we came up later was a jump scare air horn, which is an old air horn that's like this silver bottle and stuff. It doesn't really work as an air horn anymore, but if you say the word "boo" as it's triggered, you'll trigger a fear in a medium blast template in the area that you're pointing it at, right? So it's little things like that you can use, and we've got 3 pages on talismans. So we've got a bunch of talismans for to use, and then rules about how they're activated, and some advice to GMs about how to acquire them. So it's all up to the GM to determine whether you get them and how many and how often and stuff. But we have suggestions on how to do that. So that's talismans.
Awesome, sir. So let's see, Brian and Daryl, you guys have any of the?
I mean, I've got one, but I'm gonna let Brian go first.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I wrote 2 or 3 of them. One of them was just the classic monkey's paw from the old story. Be careful what you wish for story. One of my personal favorites is the grandfather clock, which goes all the way to 13, and if it starts chiming at midnight and you're nearby, you get shunted into sort of a shadow version of our world where there's nobody around and you're all alone for about an hour, but there's monsters there too. So
awesome.
Ooh, super creepy.
Watch out for that one.
Yeah, I was glad we added witch ladders, which is like actually a real thing that I'd never heard of, where people would weave spells into hair or string, and they would build this ladder, and you'd hide it in the person's house, and then the curse would affect it, or you drop it in the well or the water source, to affect the towns. Like that's got tons of potential adventure around it. But my favorite was the one that we went back and forth on the most. So we have a couple of different magic candles that you can light, and there's effects or whatever. And so, of course, I had to add one that looks exactly like the other ones, and it has a positive benefit and a negative, like huge hindrance, which is in the light, ethereal creatures can't enter. Like you don't cast shadows, but you're ghost proof, right? Like within the light, you're safe. However, your shadows that don't appear in the light, they're like off stalking the nearby countryside, trying to murder people, So there could be like, these haunted shadows running around, coming like, someone lit that stupid candle, get in there, put it out.
So you guys are all so nice in person, and then you see these things you create to kill characters, and it's like, who harmed you? Show me on the voodoo doll where the Hogan touched you, please.
I'm not even that nice in real life.
So other goodies that we've unlocked, like obviously the horror archetype cards, a whole I think 18. Did we do 3 different sites? We did like the Gaslight, the Pulp, and then another one on the cards, and then a box to put them in, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be 36 in toto, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of archetypes.
12 and 12, yeah.
It's going to be good stuff. So, Scott, tell us about the cell phone deal and how does that work, given that it's one of the most difficult, I'd say, for like regular writers. Let's get big picture. For horror, a cell phone seem on the surface to be able to like diffuse some of the horror traps, right? So how does it work for Pinebox Middle School, given that Pinebox Middle School is a modern kids on bike setting?
Good to emphasize.
Right? So,
so I mean, obviously, certain areas are going to have restrictions on how well your phone is going to work for you, and most of the time, especially when we present the Savage Tales and also our plot point, it will state where you set that level for the players. And as you use it, you're going to be potentially losing the ability to use your phone. As you're going underground, you'll lose the ability to use your phone. And there will be rolls to determine how much battery power you have and things like that that'll come into play. So you can't always count on your phone to be the immediate access to Wikipedia or whatever arcane Wikipedia you're using to try to get your information to defeat the big bad that you're up against. There will actually be something in play. And when originally the idea was that kids aren't really tracking ammo per se unless they're tracking foam darts or something like that for their Nerf gun. So this was a kind of a nice little add-on that would still give you something to be tracking at the table.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I love how it fits right in there with kind of like fear level that we use so much in Deadlands. And it's just super thematic for this setting. And then someone asked before on a previous stream, hey, is this going to be available for ETU as well? And the answer is yes, of course.
Works for any modern horror.
Any modern horror, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we're giving you the cards so you can track that easily. You don't have to look it up in the book. So that you guys unlock that as a physical goal. And then
hey, Preston's here.
Yeah,
Presto.
Well, they're both muted, so you guys make sure you unmute so you can like dive in and comment.
Okay, so I missed the beginning. Everyone start over.
Okay.
We were talking all kinds of stuff about you.
It was just me blathering at the beginning,
Okay,
so we
we
don't need to
can
repeat
skip
any
that
of it. Yeah, we are just very thankful for all of you, 1,700 backers and almost 170K on the thing. So that's pretty amazing. So Presto and Ed, since you're both here, and I know Presto, we may only have you for a few minutes, so let's get you on. What is the one thing you're most looking forward to people getting to play with in Pinebox Middle School?
Ooh, well, the plot point campaign, does that count? Or is that
give us some hints then. Tell us a little bit about what challenges the kids will be facing in the plot point campaign. Now that they can't back out, right? If they're not watching right now, they can't cancel their plans.
They can still for another hour or so. But...
Don't
No, they can't.
You won't.
It's 100% math homework for the players. You just sit there and do times tables.
Now that's horror.
Do my taxes.
I'm pretty
Presto,
sure there's
what's
a
8
popular
times 7?
game that is it.
Fear
tell
roll,
us,
fear roll. All right. I dig the Savage Tales and the plot point campaign. It's pretty cool. It's this neat combination of man. What can I say without spoiling it?
It's almost anything will spoil stuff in there.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
People
all right.
show up. They're here to be spoiled.
Yeah. So you have a set of bad guys, as one would expect, right? But within that framework, all sorts of other seemingly random, but not random things happen throughout the plot point. And you aren't necessarily going to see how those things come together until the very last couple of plot points. And then they're all going to come together, and you're going to think back over the last year and go, wow, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see how that fit in, but it totally does. And I'm looking forward to hearing the feedback on the plot points.
I mean, certainly, I'll jump in. The way I structured it originally, yeah, right. The way I structured it originally was thinking about a streaming TV series and a season of a streaming TV series. Actually, you can go multiple seasons in this case.
Call us Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. So it has all that stuff that builds with every chapter, but also has numerous callbacks, and it fits nicely into the existing universe, into the ETU and Pinebox universe. And that doesn't necessarily spoil anything, but it's a continuation. So if you're familiar with everything that's come before, you'll be surprised by a few new things.
Oh, that's good. That's super good. And I haven't read it, so I'm excited.
You're gonna have to play it.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah, you're saying no spoilers. I don't mind spoilers because I mean, here's the great thing about this. I think that like the proof is in the pudding, is in the eating. You know, they say that. Which, by the way, if you ever go to a place called Tupelo Honey, they have a banana pudding on the dessert that is the most heavenly, divine. It's more of a mousse than a pudding. It's mwah. Anyways, it was Jody's treat, and when we were out in Knoxville, and I want to go back to Knoxville just to eat more pudding. So that's where my mind is tonight. Ed, speaking of the, you did some really cool stuff since everyone's in the family now, since you guys are all on. That is the most popular backing level is the all in. I mean, that really surprised us. We thought people would go one for the other, but. The true value is in the all-in level, and you guys, that is the most popular level. I think it's like 90,000 of the 170,000 is people buying that level. So you guys want it all. But Ed, you're running a whole little ETU study group, which is like a Facebook group for ETU fans. And we invited all the backers to that today because you've been doing some really cool, every other day updates on like behind the scenes stuff. What's it like, sir? Give us the rundown on like what's it like seeing your baby regress a bit from college to middle school, but as far as the game goes and everything else, I mean, progress from as Presto said before on a previous stream, your swan song was going to be ETU and you were done, and you're not done, sir. We've got plenty more.
No, that was 12 years ago when we were doing the swan song, so apparently we're not done. Well, when you get Scott and Tracy involved, you're going to regress a little bit. They love kids, I don't know about the kids, but no, seriously, I'm super stoked. I love the ETU universe that we've created. I love the backstory that I have, and Preston always makes fun of me because I write like 1,000, 2,000 years of history before I ever get to the adventure. But I like things to have like a consistency, and I understand, and ultimately, if there's ever a big reveal, then you'll know exactly. Oh, thank you.
2,000 years of background.
Thanks,
right
Preston.
I'm bringing that out
that
next
is
year.
like
too.
that is
This
right
is gonna
on.
be a
That is so right.
recurring thing.
Anyway, I'm all about consistency.
And the tables, by the way.
And I just like to have fun. And I'll be honest, the thing I think I get the most pleasure out of is hearing about other people's games. And some of the things they come up with not only just astonishes me, but blows me away. Like, I'll never forget, I think it was Chris Fox came up with I think it was him, came up with the Jello monster from the party with the ETU. I mean, it was like, they had this big pool of, Kitty's pool made a Jello thing out of it, and then somebody did a ritual and it turned into a Jello monster. It was throwing Jello shots at people, and I thought that was like the most hilarious thing I'd ever read. So again, this is what fans do, and that's the kind of stuff I just love reading. And so with the ETU study group, we have a lot of folks that are talking about their campaigns and what they're doing in their adventures and offering lots of advice, and I really get a kick out of that, and I love hearing what the fans are doing with it. They always take my basic idea and just really run with it and make it something even better, and I just think that is super cool. It's like a shared world.
It is, and just as long as we got you and Presto here, any insights into like what we might be looking at with ETU 2 coming up? I mean, with no dates, no promises, but I mean, where are we taking the world with ETU 2?
Go ahead, Preston. I'll let you start.
Get in trouble with Shane first. You do it, Presto.
That's right. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, the easy answer is all the rules are going to be updated this way, right? I mean, that's a given. We are advancing the timeline in the setting to what we're calling the second era, I think, which is also the same timeline as middle school. So we've advanced the timeline in middle school. We've had public servants come and go. We've had people retire. So it is a living world. And so we've advanced the timeline in middle school. We're going to use that same timeline. It'll be the new era for ETU2. And so you'll experience all of those changes. There's been changes on campus with campus administrators coming and going. Maybe some new buildings have been built, older ones condemned, perhaps. I'm planning on exploring the steam tunnels under the campus. That was something we didn't touch on in the original book. Steam tunnels are going to be a big deal in ETU2. It'll have all new. There's going to be no repeats in terms of adventures.
No.
It's going to be all new Savage Tales, all new plot point.
All
so
new
it will be a new book.
tables.
Tables are awesome, right? But what about the
And new
burn?
tables. I mean, it'll still be there. Nothing has really changed with the burn.
Still
So
burn.
the things that you're accustomed to and that you got to adventure in before in the first book will still be there. You'll be able to use all the adventures from the first book. If you haven't gotten a chance to play ETU yet, when ETU comes out, you'll be able to mine all the adventures from the first book and play the second book. So
Even though it's the second era, there's no reason you couldn't make it your own and do, mix and match. There's no
the
reason.
adventures are the adventures. It's really just the people that have kind of come and gone.
Ooh, good stuff.
So yeah, that's ETU2.
Super exciting. Super exciting. Okay, so speaking of upcoming projects, because we got Daryl here.
Well, also speaking of Texas, before we move on from Texas, who is all going to ChupacabraCon this year? I know I am.
I always go to Chupacabra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should
I
shout
gotta
out.
try to get there.
Maybe a
All the
video
figure it
cool
out.
kids.
So yeah. Any of you, if they're looking on your calendar, ChupacabraCon. Hey.
Yep. Book now.
I just hope it's not on homecoming weekend again, because then I have to leave early. But hopefully I can be there the whole time.
Yeah, that sounds like a you guys problem.
See how
It's always my problem.
Yeah.
And speaking of conventions, so I mean, right now, let me go pull up a picture, but I'm pretty sure Jody sent one. So this weekend, Sean Robertson from Riffs fame, and they've got a Kickstarter that we're going to splash up on the screen here soon.
Yes.
Titan Robotics. He's going to be at LongCon this weekend, and then we've got at least 4 of the crew. Jody and Clint Black, and Simon and Mike Barbeau are all at BGGCon, and they are demoing a new board game that we are looking to. Let me download this real quick and pop it up on the screen. But I guess the cat's out of the bag. It's Doomguard, which you guys will recognize from the Superpowers companion, is coming to a board game platform near you soon. And so they're going to be demoing that at BGGCon to keep tweaking the rules. But if you guys are interested...
Pretty much fighting the critters from the horror companion.
Well, cool. And now they're licensed, so they don't have to be like Cthulhu. And,
or my favorite knockoff was for Macho Women with Guns, the Isaac Asimov.
Nice.
I kind of like that one better, actually. The many
Awakens
stars
with the morning breath of the ages.
So we're out there doing the convention stuff, and some of the biggest Savage Worlds conventions are already booking spots. So keep an eye out on the socials for those, because many of the faces you guys see here will be at those conventions. I love these kind of meetings where we get a bunch of folks on screen, and it's kind of like getting together and meeting up at the bar after a good convention. But we need to do more of that. So. It's just been too long for a lot of us that, the good meetups. But I think as a company, I think the one good thing we're seeing now that the effects from COVID are getting a little bit less is that our shipping timelines are getting a little bit better and a little more secure. And so hopefully these will be worry-free. I mean, we've had some fun little hurdles this year, but there's a whole lot coming up in the next couple months. We've got Hollers coming in. So if you didn't watch the Holler unboxing yesterday, you can check that out on the VOD. But Holler is coming in. I think it's supposed to arrive at the warehouse on like Christmas Eve. And so no one's going to be there to unpack it. Sorry, guys. You'll have to wait till January. We will give our lovely warehouse people a little bit of time off. But I mean, a bunch of the other Kickstarters are all going to be coming in the first quarter of 2003. So it's going to be busy. It's going to be really busy. So Darryl,
get it out the door. Yeah.
Right? Yes, make sure you update your addresses and finish the pledge managers. We had someone today who was like a little angry we hadn't given them their book, and we've been back and checked, and they didn't fill out the pledge manager. So if we don't know your address, we can't send it to you. So make sure that
and that especially happens with like our favorite people or the new people, right? That haven't done a Kickstarter before, haven't done a game changer before. And it's like, welcome. Oh, you've never done this before, you sweet summer child. Here's all these things that, we have to remember to tell you about. And everyone ignores their email, right? They're like, whatever, I got an email, and it goes away. And then it becomes an issue later. So
right. And to the person's credit, Atlantis is the last project we used Pledge Manager for, and we've gone to our Game Changer since. So we've been telling people, Game Changer. And that one was the Pledge Manager. So we'll forgive you if you forgot to fill it out. But yes, so someone did Unchained Mike, and here I finally have it. There we go. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
You can see everybody's smiling faces.
Yay.
So yeah,
I'm just super impressed. There's minis in that pick. Look at that.
They're good minis.
He's got a box and everything.
And it's all shiny. And there's the email sign-up list. So yeah, if you guys check the news for the BGGCon news thing, there is the link for the email sign-up if you want to be among the first to be notified of when we do move forward with Doomguard. But I'm just surprised they're all smiling now, because in my experience, when you've got a board game that involves like superheroes and stoppy robots killing each other, someone's not smiling by the end of it because their stoppy robots get killed. So maybe we've cracked the code and we have the perfect board game that everyone's happy at the end.
Well, that and Doomguard, it's competitive co-op, right? Like, you're all part of the Doomguard trying to save the city, and you only stop smiling if you're like, oh man, they blew up town hall and we're all going to hell.
Oops. The supers didn't win this one, guys.
The stars were wrong.
So yeah, let me show you guys. So as long as we're here, we got you a little captive audience. Let me show you all like some of the Kickstarters that are going on in the greater Savage Worlds realm. So the Beryllium is up on Kickstarter. So let's see where they are at today. I forgot to actually click that link. So Beryllium they are funded and they've got 2 weeks to go. This one's a really kind of a cool setting. It's very magical, Wild West, old Earth kind of cool vibes from Beryllium. The production values are really, really good, and these are a licensee. So check out Beryllium. This is Titan Robotics, and they are also funded, and they've got a long way to go, but they're over 400 backers. The cool thing about the Titan Robotics one from the folks at Palladium is there is Savage Worlds content in this one. So if you back for this one, you can get a hold of the Savage Worlds stats.
Yeah, it's designed from the ground up for Palladium system rifts, but Sean, because he's got that foot in both worlds, was like, oh, hey, let's do the conversion stuff early.
Thanks,
for
Sean.
Backers of this. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, someday we'll get there. We'll catch up on the Savage side, but until then, you'll have that bonus if you want the latest, greatest, newest, truest.
That's super cool.
Right, and so yes, and that's been a great partnership for us, and we are happy to keep it going. So check out Titan Robotics and it's all in all of its goodness. We put a link in the chat there, and then of course. Here's a really cool one. If you guys didn't get in on the original Raven comics, this is a reprint, and they're doing some cool stuff with it. So this is the Outrider Press, which is Empire of Vocations, which is a new imprint with Pinnacle involved, and it's like Outland Entertainment and Pinnacle, so they're calling it Outrider. And they're going back to the Raven comics, and I mean, look at that art. Like that is just the coolest picture of Raven. So if you have not picked up this yet, I mean, just cool, super cool cover. And so check that out. That is currently, let's see, are they funded yet? They are close. They are 3,200 out of their 4,000 goal, and they just launched it. I think yesterday, the day before. So if you missed out on that, we will have that link in the chat right now too. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there going on in the Kickstarter realm. And it's certainly not only Pinebox Middle School, but look at you. We have more backers since we last looked at the screen. So thank you.
Yeah. We have. We're 399 away from 170.
Whoa, nice.
Okay, $600, guys. $600. Oh, wait. Someone just
going down.
Wrong direction.
Scared him off.
Wrong direction.
Scared him
Come
off.
back.
It's always weird when it drops like $8. How did that happen?
Oh, there we go. It's back. Okay.
I saw it drop like $1 the other night. I don't know what I was looking at.
I did see someone drop their dollar pledge. It's just like, ouch, guys, ouch. I mean, it took you the time to go back to the Kickstarter to unpledge that dollar that your time is worth. But hey,
Oh, maybe they're just upgrading it.
Let's hope that's what.
Yeah,
was,
they
was
took
happening,
the dollar off, and then they went all in.
All in.
They went all in.
What was I thinking? $1?
Yeah.
Owe me $2.
So I mean, in
Paycheck
general,
for
it's like don't watch the pledges; it'll just drive you crazy. Because like Kickstarter will show you the individual ones, and there are certain ones that you just don't even know what they're doing. Like there's one backer this campaign who they're a brand new backer; they have 0 other projects they back, and then they just keep backing and unbacking for like $20. And it's like every other day they pledge and then they cancel and they pledge. I'm like, I just don't understand what's going through your head. But get in now, please. Please hit.
I imagine.
Look, we're glad
Chris,
you're here. We
whatever it
love
is,
you.
thank you.
Yeah.
He's got to
Chris,
eat.
if I may, it
Yeah.
is probably a guy with a wife who doesn't want him to spend money on it. Not that I would know.
Will that be one of those situations where the Kickstarter box is in the trunk of the car until later?
And then they find your stash. What is this? This whole library.
Oh, I backed that years ago.
Yeah, that's been a long time ago. Got it at a used bookstore.
Right, used bookstore. There was a sale. They were giving it away. It was just a neighbor down the street. That's why it's in the trunk. They were giving. I forgot about it. Oh yes. But so guys, if you are backing us, someone did ask very nicely. They're like, "Hey, money's a little tight right now. Can I back for $1 and then still be able to get in on the upgrade?" So yes, we will allow you to get in the upgrades because you asked nicely. But one new thing with this campaign is we're keeping you guys in the tracks that you're backing in. So you can't back for like all of Pinebox Middle School digital and then can that and then upgrade to the Horror Companion physical. So you gotta you can add on, but you can't trade out. So that's just a little caveat for the few of you guys who and gals who did that before. We're keeping you in your lanes.
Yeah, and the rule of thumb is if you're already getting if once you've got the digital products, it's like, okay, you've got the digital products. You can't shift over to something else. You have to you can upgrade to something that still includes those. Like that's the main reasoning behind that.
Trying to beat the system.
I know we have clever customers and we love you for it because it's it's cool. But we closed that loophole.
If you're not cheating, I guess you don't care.
So a couple folks have asked, when do I get my stuff? So because this is a Kickstarter, not a game changer, we do have to wait the 3 to 5 weeks for Kickstarter to be like, okay, this is actually final. We'll tell you who your backers are, and we'll send you the money.
Yeah,
so
they literally don't send us information for weeks. So we're like, well,
it is so weird. They have been making upgrades. They added little icons next to some of the stuff on the back end. Thanks for the icons, Kickstarter. We have another longer list of stuff we'd like next, but so a bunch of this functionality that we know now, they just lock us out of when the campaign closes. Like we can't make any more referral links, even though we're still referring people to the page and the pledge manager and all that stuff. But anyways, besides all the Kickstarter paraphernalia that goes on, it'll be like 3 to 5 weeks. When we get that from Kickstarter, then we can start delivering you guys alpha files, and those will be on peginc.com. And then maybe because you backed, they'll eventually also be on Drive-Thru-RPG. But look for those on Peginc, and we'll give you guys emails on that, and there will be updates. So it won't be like game changers, I think, with Maw of Oblivion, because Daryl was like done with the file because he did almost all of the revisions. Super
we got
fast.
some amazing feedback. Thank you, whoever's out there that was like keeping us honest, going through that. And I was like, oh yeah, all right, you're right.
Yes.
Oop, just got another nice bump.
Oh,
Ooh,
good.
nice.
Good.
An all
Very
in.
nice.
So yes, if we get to 170, then we'll do really amazing, strange things on camera. But then I won't show it to you because no one needs to see this. But
Not too strange.
Not too strange. Stranger Things strange. Maybe Tracy will show us. Oh, there it is. Tracy is showing us right now. I mean, okay, so that's the first look. Tracy, tell us what. Let me get you a little larger if I can.
I've got to jump off, guys.
Later,
Best of
Presto.
luck on the last 30 minutes.
I'm
And
scaring Preston away.
yeah,
Mhm.
take care.
Thanks for joining us, Presto. Appreciate you, buddy.
See you, Professor.
Adios.
Yeah, Tracy, that's quite the cat there on your shoulder.
Yeah, isn't it? So this is the blood demon. It's featured heavily, prominently in my GM screen adventure, but it's also in the main book of Pinebox as blood demons are a thing, and there's a special named one in the the GM screen adventure that Brian got to play while we were doing Halloween, along with John Doom, who I know is out there. And he's pretty scary. I hesitate to say too much about what he does, but he targets children, and he does it in a way that is pretty terrifying and pretty motivating for the students of Pinebox to try to track him down and take him out in whatever way they can, or at least control him. But you can see the art, the story of the art was fascinating because we were working to get him in on the GM screen before we had a character sketch. And it was coming in, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good." And then Alita sort of picked up on my non-enthusiasm, and found a horror-specific artist to do the character sketch. And she just came up with it, like literally in my chair in my office with nobody around. I'm like, "There it is. That's the one." And I told her, I'm like, "That's great. That's awesome." And everybody else in the thread was like, "That's terrifying. What horrifying abomination is this?" And I'm like, "Yes, exactly. That's the reaction we're going for," which is, a demon with blood leaking out of his skin and doing all this stuff. It's pretty grotesque.
Good luck, kids.
You said his name. Is it Mr. Snuffles?
No. His name
Rock?
in the GM screen adventure is Tyrannos,
Like,
but or Tyrannos, I think, was how I pronounce him.
If there's one thing that kids love, it's like blood and gore. Because, like, if any of you remember, like in Disneyland, when the way back days, the bear jamboree or whatever, when they would sing "Blood on the Saddle," like that was right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we can sing it; we might get copyright thing, right? But it was like, oh, it's totally grotesque, but that was the thing that every kid loved more than anything else. So
yeah, I wanted something that would really, really scare you. So I got it, I think. And the thing is, the beauty of it, of course, is that you also have the tools to take care of it in some way. In some way, it's not like something that's just completely out of your league. It's something that you can deal with, and something that makes you a hero, because this thing really is targeting children and your friends, and it makes it mean something. So that's really like the motivation that I have for all of Pinebox Middle School, is to empower the kids to deal with some of these crazy things that they find.
So that's a good question to throw out. So thanks, Dave, for going all in.
I was going to say, David, you've made a wise decision. If this is your first all-in.
This one is actually a really good deal on the all-in. It really versus MSRP and the shipping. It's like we're like, let's really do it for the folks who really want to go in.
It was, and that's one of those like fun like back end things, right? When we're putting together these lists and we're trying to make them work to be efficient for you guys, right? Like, oh, like here's what makes sense for us, but now what makes sense for you? What feels like the right value? Like, where should we land? And when we're putting all these numbers together, and we're like, wow, like there's this big gap on the all in to where it's like $50 lower than it would be separately. And we're like, that's perfect. Like, that's great. Like, that makes it a really good deal. And it's obvious that it's a good deal, where sometimes it's not as obvious. Like, oh no, like this is actually a bargain. It doesn't feel like it. But this one had that great confluence of it feels like it. You can really see this is the benefit to combining it all together and doing it at once.
Yeah, right. And that's another thing too, is like for folks who don't know, I don't think this is an industry secret, but there is probably going to be an industry-wide price hike for like PDF next year. And You can figure out what platform that's going to be on. If it's not, I don't remember if it was, we could say that or not, but it was supposed to already happen, but they just can't figure the technology out to do it yet, which is.
Well, let's just say all our stuff goes through them. So
yes, right?
Do the math.
So yeah, it's not going to be, it'll be probably a close to 10% hike, I think, on PDF prices. So yeah, that's coming. So get in now where you can get the really good rates on all these things, because by the time they do come to retail, it's going to be 2023 prices, not 2022 prices. But I want you guys to talk about like this, how do kids take on the horrors in Pinebox Middle Schools? Like, what edges do they have available to them? What kind of tools can you get to really ease the way of defeating some of these monsters? So whoever wants to take that. I think we haven't heard from Scott in a bit, so we'll start with Scott. So we want to go around and talk about
Well, one thing that we introduced we haven't talked about in a little while are exploits, which are in the same way that you would have an exploit on a video game big bad or enemy. We've introduced them for a lot of the big bads and monsters in Pinebox Middle School. So now there are tiny little vulnerabilities that these things have well beyond just beating them with baseball bats. There could be something as subtle as talking to them the right way, or showing them a certain thing, or doing a dance, or it could be anything that beyond just doing a physical combat situation. And I think they work really, really well. And they certainly, I hope, will get players to really sort of think outside the box on how they're going to deal with these things, because some of them may seem to be far more dangerous to a group of kids than other monsters, but they do have their vulnerabilities. It's just a matter of figuring those out. And I think a lot of them do have built-in ways that you can kind of figure out those vulnerabilities as you're fighting them, or exploits as we call them.
Oh, that's good. That's so good. I wish we had time. If I were around more this week and didn't have to travel, I think we should have highlighted how exploits work, because that's a super cool mechanic. And it really does set the tone for how you can still succeed, right, as kids. And to me, I think that the fun part of this is that you don't have access to vehicles and heavy weaponry, so you don't lean on that being the way to solve these things. You kind of you take it to the other way of solving things. And I just think that's a fun way to shake up the whole genre. I mean, this is how we're not like other properties who do kids on bikes style games. These are the things, right? These are the selective design choices that will make sure that this is a very different playing experience. And so you still get all the tropes you want, but the difference here, the innovation here, is really kind of special. So I'm looking forward to hearing some of the feedback on that, and even getting to play it as. How do you play as middle school kids and not leaning into the murder hoboism, and even having this challenge? Like someone was mentioning during one of the
playtests. Have you met middle schoolers? They are murder hobos.
They are. They totally are.
Ed did tell us that's why he moved on from the middle school teaching.
I mean, whether we put them in the book or not, they're going to find ways to get some deadly weapons in there. But that said, we do have soft weapons too, and there's not finalized yet, but basically it's a cool extra little zhuzh on testing. So when you use some of these soft weapons, like a boffer stick or a water gun or a firecrackers, or these the poppets that people can like stand on, you can use them as sort of booby traps, right? It's these kinds of things that are soft weapons, and the neat thing about them is, again, it's a little extra zhuzh on tests. So what it will do also is get you to dive in a little deeper on the core SWADE rules of tests, because there's some stuff in there that most people don't even realize is there. And that includes rate of fire tests and stuff like that. It's all in there. And when you start looking at soft weapons, you'll start realizing, oh, wow, I really care about this now. And it's a neat way to bring out some of that stuff that was already in SWADE into the forefront by using just popping it out just a little bit for Pinebox Middle School.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so before I hit up Daryl, shoot your eye out. Oh God, I love that. That movie's we're entering the season where that movie's going to be on TBS for like 24 hours a day, which I will just watch all the time. But so some interesting questions before we get to Brian and Daryl. We'll talk about their upcoming projects for PEG. Let's see. the Rifts. So we're not bringing this to Kickstarter. So there is currently a Titan Robotics Kickstarter, and we don't want to go head to head to them on Kickstarter. So we're going to make this a nice long campaign on our Game Changer. So we're not sure when exactly we're going to launch it, but it might be later this month or next month.
Coming ridiculously soon, right?
Right,
Like sooner than you think.
Pretty soon.
And it's South America, Land of a Thousand Isles, and Terror on the Dark Frontier, which is the first long-form plot point campaign that they've done for Rifts. And it's all in the Haunted West, and oh my God, it's really good.
Right, and because it's on our Game Changer, so if you go to peginc.com, there's a little logo on the right for Game Changer. We use Game Changer for if you guys are new, like Rob Frank is new. So we run our own crowdfunders on the Game Changer platform. We've done the previous 2 companions, and then we use it also for our pledge manager for all of our crowdfunding now. And so that'll be on there. And then the one big difference between Kickstarters and our site is our site, when you pledge, you also pay the same day. So you can still upgrade later, but it's different than Kickstarter where you're like, when does it end and when am I going to get charged? You kind of get charged when you put in your initial pledge. So because of that, because the holidays are weird, we're going to give you guys weeks and weeks and weeks to get in on this one. I mean, it might even go into the new year. We haven't really pegged it down yet. We figured between all the holiday sales and Christmas and all the other things that are coming up, we'll just give you guys the time to get in on it. So we're going to do a nice long Game Changer for the next Rifts. And then coming in the new year, we've got some new Deadlands. So, Brian, tell us, what is the project you've been working on Deadlands, sir?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I spent the summer working on a new gazetteer, I guess you could call it, for Deadlands called Abominable Northwest. Takes place up in the part of the country where I live. As a matter of fact, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho will be covered. And the bulk of that has been written, and we'll be bringing that out for you in the next year.
Nice. Okay. So I know this is a never evolving question. Have we decided on what the plural for Sasquatch is?
I don't believe that we have.
Okay, so that'll be an ongoing thing. We need some more community involvement on what the plural for Sasquatch would be, because Brian has done an amazing job. There is not one, there is not two. There are so many different kinds of Sasquatch in this book that you should pick it up for that alone. Because
absolutely.
Yes, it's like my dating life, just various forms of hairy creatures that you don't see very often.
And Shane will be writing an adventure that takes place in that area to go along with that source book.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
We're lucky that we could get, Shane's super busy, a whole bunch of other things to distract him, but we're lucky to get him to pull him in and writing writing Sasquatches. This is going to be good.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Because he is so busy, but like when something comes along that excites him, he can't help himself.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, there it is. He can't help himself. In we go.
Yes. And yes. Yeah, I know. We know. That's why we're giving you plenty of warning for your wallet, Mr. Frank. Yeah, I mean the Deadlands stuff. I mean the Brian's been doing really gangbusters on the Deadlands supplements so far. They've been really well received. We're really looking forward to Hell on the High Plains coming in finally in print. That one's coming in with one of the shipments early in the new year. And no new news on the martial arts companion.
I got news. Don't hold your breath.
Yeah. Oh, so I have to apologize here. During a previous stream, Daryl mentioned about, hey, these double headers are working really great. And my mind immediately went to relaunch of Ghost Mountain might be with martial arts not happening. Those are not being paired. Sorry.
It's being relaunched with something, though.
Yeah, something really cool, actually. Yeah. Really cool.
Right. So, yes,
it has more to do with core than anything else.
Yes, it's very core.
And this is like a question worth talking, because I know there's some question out there like, oh man, Ghost Mountain, or do I hold out for martial arts companion? And that's why we don't usually like to say too much, but what I'll say is we haven't even really started on a martial arts companion. It's not on the schedule. It's not really happening. So it might happen someday, but it ain't going to be for quite a while. So please don't wait for it.
Right. Well, that's another thing too. Is even in the early prelim talks of what might be in a martial arts companion, the rough draft, the sketch is not just Asian martial arts. It's also like historical European martial arts, and for that we really kind of need to see how Deadlands Dark Ages does and what kind of cool stuff gets innovated there. And that's another big project that's looming on the horizon. We've been teasing that one a little too much because it's like, with all the uncertainty of crowdfunding slots and shipping, and then the art, because we're putting out so much stuff now. Oh my God, the art budget for the last 2 months is
poor Alita is dying.
Yeah.
She is, like, we're really
right.
We got a lot going.
We do.
Yeah.
So a whole lot of stuff came through, and so that one's also looming on the horizon, and when we're actually going to pull the trigger on Deadlands Dark Ages, it's really good. John Goff has outdone himself, but that's also a really important one too. I mean, it's going to be another time where we're launching another Deadlands, property, and since Deadlands is the baby that makes us all, keeps us all fed, that one's important to make sure we really get it right. So. Yes, that one's on the horizon. So give us a hint, Daryl, as long as we're talking about Ghost Mountain. What's been zhuzhed up for the relaunch?
So it's mostly when it was originally conceived, right? It was conceived as a plot point campaign, and the original conception was it was going to be a 32-pager. So it was like, here's chapter 1, like we'll get you started, give you your basic character creation, get your foot in the door. And off we go. And then we do probably like 3 of them in total, and it'd be 96 pages. That was the original plan. And we got done with the 32 pagers and we played it and we liked it. And then Shane was like, okay, so how about we just like finish it? We'll just do it in 1 book rather than make people buy 3. I'm like, okay, cool. So, I did that and we got our 96 pages, and it was tight, right? It's like, okay, we're telling like a 10 chapter plot point campaign with Savage Tales in 96 pages and giving character creation and some setting info. Like, it's tight, right? So we're like, well, we've got some extra pages. Let's add some more settings, some more character options and all that. Like, okay, cool.
How it happens.
Exactly. I added that. And that was when we hit the campaign. And because of the way we marketed it, I think we confused people on what was there. Like, we were trying to really push the new cool things that it does. And I think in doing that, like, it felt like we weren't doing the things that you would do like in any plot point campaign. So like, okay. So on the bright side, now I've got as many pages as I want. So some of the things that were there, but now I can expand like significantly in terms of areas that were outside of the main adventure, like in Savage Tales around those. And I just am finishing work on an adventure generator for it, for continuing campaigns and new haunts and things like that. So there's a lot, right? There's going to be more pages. Like, it's so funny to me. Like, every time we do it, it's like, well, let's add another 30, 40 pages, whatever. It'll still be the same box that it was before, but yeah, there's more stuff.
Well, and I think, like, I didn't even really get to show off the map. We kind of pulled it before we really got into the map and the whole world. And there's so many other cool things than just what the plot point campaign does.
And that's the nice thing, is this gives us space to go a little deeper into that. Like, before it was there, but it wasn't necessarily like, oh, there's not an adventure around this or something detailed. Like, here's the idea, run with it. Now we can be like, okay, well, here's more. Like, we've got
200 years of history.
Well,
as long as Ed's here, we need at least 2,000.
Well, no. So, but to Ed's point, right? Like, you have to figure out that history, and once you figure out the history, that lets you be consistent with the stuff that's going on. And what was really funny was when I started it at 32 pages, it was like, there's a big bad out there doing stuff. I don't know who. Like, whatever. Like, I can deal with that in the next chapter or the chapter after that. But when I wrote out like the history, suddenly the big bad became like clear, like instant, like, oh man. Like, and the history that I do, right, I try to make sure that it's all relevant. And the nice thing is, because it's a setting with undead and ghosts, you can talk about ancient history and then meet that dude. Because, like, yeah, well, sure, he died 1,000 years ago, but I mean, didn't we all? Right? Like,
raise your hand if this isn't your third incarnation.
Yeah, right. Or like, yeah, but when the heroes, spoiler alert, go to hell, some of these people that have died, but you've read the history, you're like, oh, it matters. Like, this is directly relevant to how we do things. And that makes it feel more tied together, right? Like all part of that same whole. It's not just history for history's sakes. It is actively engaging with how you play and what you do.
Now good stuff. Oh, we got some new comments. Murph4, hello, welcome Murph. I'm new to all this. Well, welcome to the Savage Worlds family, Murph. Looking to get into it slowly. Do you guys have any veterans military discount available by chance on the website? So we don't have any means of checking that out, but if you shoot me an email, I'd be happy to give you a great discount on all our Weird War stuff, because that, if you are a military aficionado and if you serve, and thank you for your service, Weird Wars is where to start, because there's so much good stuff in there from.
Except Weird Wars isn't swayed yet. We're still on the docket.
I know, but still, that's why we'll get you on it too, right?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Keep it swayed.
So yeah. So Ed lost out, so Ed's got to run. Thank you, Ed, for joining us, buddy. Sorry you couldn't make it through the whole thing. I do like where our Kickstarter is now, though. 169,691. It's a very nice palindromic sort of number. Like so yeah, no one give us any more money unless you give us $400 or someone needs to go all in, get the all in with the add-on.
You and shut your filthy mouth. Give us any money you want to.
It would be nice to get 169,961. That'd be
right. 300. 300. I know we already passed 169,666. So, the Air Bear 2000 asks, for those of you who worked on the Horror Companion, what's your favorite new edition?
Somebody donated $1.
Thanks for the $1, guys.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you. Right. Every dollar counts.
We can kick backers off now. So I don't know. Maybe that last $1 backer.
We would never do that.
No, we're good.
Yeah, you're going the wrong way, man.
Before we do the confetti in 2 minutes, guys, what's your new favorite additions to the Horror Companion for everyone who either read about it, worked on it?
So, and this is why I've got to think about this, because when I was joking about like way more than 100, there are way more than 100. Like it's not even my favorite, but the one that keeps jumping to mind is the Mongol, which is it's a Philippine vampire who pulls out of their torso and their guts just sort of hang down and they kind of fly around and try to suck blood. That's just fun. Like it's just creepy and fun, but I know there's better ones, so I gotta think.
Yeah, someone did ask if this is going to be more than just the European monsters. And yes, it is.
And what's fun is like that was already true. Like there were a bunch in there. There was from all over, but when we went through to add more, like that was one of the things to look for was let's get some stuff from elsewhere, because there's a lot of weird stuff out there in the world, y'all.
Yeah.
So Brian, what's your favorite?
Well, I mean, there are so many good ones that, again, I just like you, I'd have to think about it. But I guess the one that pops to mind is the Torment Demon. I was a really big Hellraiser fan at one point earlier in my life, and there's something kind of weird and interesting about those Cenobites. So the Torment Demon,
a lot of demons.
Yeah. So it kind of inspired, you could say, by Hellraiser.
Nicely done.
Last 30.
Oh, I know, we're so close. 30 seconds to go.
Well, this is a good time. I want to point out that my group last night played the very first adventure in the plot point campaign for Pinebox Middle School. It's called Held Back. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. They really got into character. In fact, they all got a Benny because during the first one of the very first scenes, they're all put together in science class to be a group, and then they get to meet each other. And they were in character real time for 10 minutes, which is how long the teacher gave them to get to know each other and talk to the class. So it was so much fun.
Yay! Yeah. Well, there we go. Yay for the confetti.
Fireworks and confetti.
Awesome job, all. That's our final number, 987,654,321. Oh, that's just a countdown. Thanks, Frank.
I wish.
Right? We are all retiring. Who says the pay a lot? Awesome, guys. Congratulations. I'm so excited for all of you guys and gals, because this is a really great campaign at a really tough time in kind of just the industry as a whole and like the markets. And so thank you to all of our fans. You guys are amazing. This was a very easy Kickstarter. We got like no negativity in the comments. I think things just really went well. Some of the behind the scenes stuff, which is probably not interesting to everybody, but there's a little number that's called your conversion rate. The Kickstarter will tell you, like, everybody who's come and visited your page, what percentage of those people actually commit. And in the tabletop industry, like 15 to 20 is standard. We usually do better than that, and we're like 24, 25%. This campaign was over 40%. So I thank all of you, from Scott and everybody, Tracy, Mr. Rees, Daryl, everybody who worked on any of these projects, and especially the stuff like leading up to this, because I think this is kind of a sign of just general trust in the company as well. Really did a great job. People knew they wanted it, and they really got behind it. So.
And that's our main goal now, right? Is now delivery, right? Okay, cool. We're done with this phase. Now let's get it done and get it out there in people's hands.
I'm really excited to see like the size and quality of this horror companion, kind of like our fantasy companion, kind of kept growing and growing.
And that was
on the shelf, It
was, and that actually kind of made it hard on this one. We're like, man, Fantasy Companion and Super Companion both got huge, so I guess I had some more monsters. Whatever.
People always want more monsters. It's true.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing too is like you guys being as enthusiastic as you've been, and then our team, even the folks who aren't on screen right now, like Mike Barbeau and Donald and Jess. It's been so much, like when we made the ask for KSCM to give us the Cthulhu monsters, they are like, yes, we love what you're doing. By all means, let's do this. And it is a small industry, and Shane's a great dude. He's got a great rep, but I mean, it is also people worried about their properties in other people's hands, even if it's just a couple monsters, or whether it's whole adventure paths, or being able to do riffs. So those relationships are because you guys have come through for us and been really easy to work with as fans, and you've been opened your wallets a lot too. So that is amazing. We do appreciate you guys for allowing us the opportunity to work with some other people in the industry, because really, I mean, we have tentacles on like in the books, right? It's like, come on now, can't we just actually call them like Cthulhu monsters? And now we can. Now we can.
Well, right, we all play it anyway, right? Like none of us just play Savage Worlds, especially Shane, right? Like we all like to play in different stuff. And it's cool to be like, to go from that, like, well, it's not official, but here's how I would do it, to, oh, cool, we can just make it official. Like this is how we would do it. Now you don't have to do that work at home. Those of you who like to convert things, or convert it yourself, but you can use what we did as a model that helps.
Oh, yes, right, exactly. And so, and then again, big congratulations to Ed and Preston and all the folks who contributed to 12 to Midnight, like Neil Hyde over the years, and all of the awesomeness. I mean, the fact that they are entering their decades of anniversaries, and really sticking with Savage Worlds when it was just a little baby system. I mean, that's just I'm just so pleased to see that we're not only doing like the study abroad, but now we've done the and like, Scott, how many years ago did you submit the first draft? Do you remember?
Oh God, of Pinebox.
Yeah.
What was it? 4 years ago? I don't know. No, it couldn't have been that long ago.
It could.
It can be.
It can be.
Well, no. I was gonna say no. It wasn't. Because I'm pretty sure it was during the pandemic that you guys got it. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of the crazy thing, right? Is, I mean, these things are a labor of love. You have to stick with these things over a long amount of time. And we have definitely, over the last 2 years, really pushed our schedules. I mean, we are doing as many Kickstarter. I think 2 years ago, we did one Kickstarter. It was, I think the Wild West was the one Kickstarter for that year. And we are now up to like 3.5 per year, plus all the game changers in between and a couple of... Right? So it's a scale. So we appreciate you all sticking with us on that. And
right. And it's because too, like a lot of these lines, they feel like they need support. Like people want new stuff, like to explore. And it's hard where you're like, oh man, like we're working on all these things. How do we support it all at once? And then also, how do we get it out in a way that's not going to kill people? So, and that's where these double headers are great, right? Because it's like, cool. Some of you are only going to want one part, some the other part, and then our hardcore, are going to want both. Great, and then we just get it out.
Yeah. So nice little comment from Nelson.
Oh, thank you.
If you haven't seen the Archetype presentations, head on over to our YouTube. Our YouTube handle is @PegInc. So you can go to youtube.com/@peginc, and there's a whole playlist. It's I think 13 videos.
13 videos, yeah.
Run through all of the
Lucky.
archetypes. And I really wanted to get those out earlier. I'm sure we would have broken 170 if I got those out before I left versus after I left, because there are some really fun archetypes in there that really, in my opinion, set us apart from what you'll get in the other Savage Worlds Kids on Bike settings, and then the other genres Kids on Bikes, like the Kids on Bikes or whatever. There's some really cool archetypes in there that you're not going to find there. So there's all the more reason to get all of the above, buy them all, put them into your game as you see fit. But the archetypes are really cool, and they work for a modern setting too, and that's kind of the really cool part. So, right. Daryl's telling me next. Yeah, they're done. They're done. So if you like Stephen King's It and Goonies, guys, this is where it's at. So we're gonna just revel in the fact that we have finished a Kickstarter. No one died. It's been good.
Yeah, now you get to
was
revel.
close.
The rest of us have got to go work.
Yeah, we got to work.
It was close.
That
Like I
last-
told you, I was in the ER after our last live stream.
It's true.
But how much did we make on that one?
How much is an aorta worth versus an extra couple of?
I mean, is there some kind of blood sacrifice thing we can work out here?
We're super glad that the heavens aligned and you are still with us, Scott. Because,
Oh, thanks. So am I.
only because I'd have to write the newsletter by myself, and no one wants that. No
And
one.
your precious blood.
That's another thing too is guys. The really cool part about I think Savage Worlds in general, like we get a lot of love to Pinebox because really, that's a setting, and with the horror companion, I think Savage Worlds really has distinguished itself in the industry for being really good at pulp and horror above all. I think it does everything well, but other settings don't quite do what we do the way we do horror, and it's really cool to see all the extra toolkit stuff. Just all the new things people can do to even like ratchet that up some more, some new options there, and plus that huge bestiary.
Like as a whole, so many of us come from that pulp school of writing or admire the pulp writers, so like totally makes sense that that's where we kind of land when it comes to running and storytelling and all that.
That sort of cinematic influence on our gaming style.
For
Too
sure.
bad most of the pulp writers died poor.
Speaking of Scott's thing about the plot point being a series, like a streaming series, the way I introduced the first plot point was I started with knowing what the characters were, what each of the players were playing, and then I wrote up a little intro that basically was the intro to a series and saying, here you're starting in your bedroom and your mom is yelling at you for something. What is she yelling at you about? Right? It's this kind of thing, and then I'll have them roll a skill, and then I'll move on to the other person. And by the end, they're all meeting up at the school, and I've got the title card coming up, and music swells, and Pinebox is going on, right?
Yeah.
So
And I
good.
did it for every chapter so far. I've done a little intro that continues the story for every chapter I've done so far. So yeah.
Oh no, I see. I love all that, and I mean, not a peg product, but on that same line, there's a really great Pinnacle Media Network, Savage Worlds Media Network, the Sounds Like Crows podcast.
Oh, those guys are great. Yeah.
They really bring cinematography terminology to the fore. Like they'll even have like the dolly and the camera and the pan, and they'll talk about very like things like Scott Woodard would talk about being in Hollywood. But and so for SWAT, we brought a bunch of that in, like as mechanics, using the same. Because I just love it. Listening to that show, it really by them doing the script talk or the shop talk for Hollywood, it really brings it to the fore. So I love that Tracy's worked that in. It's very cool that sort of vibe is here. Because it does feel like a TV show, right? It's like Buffy. It is one of those things where
Only if your
It
hero
is.
can swing to safety on a sound boom.
Yeah. It's not something we could really write in because
the
you have
mic
to
is
know
in
the
the shot.
characters,
The
right?
mic is in the shot.
It's the sensibility of it, right?
Yeah.
So before we let you guys go, all of our audience, so there's a bunch of brand new people. We had a lot of brand new to Kickstarter, brand new to Savage Worlds
Welcome.
folks. So welcome to the family, guys. Peginc.com is where to hang out. There's a huge Facebook group. It's facebook.com/unofficial Savage Worlds, but it is the official. So that's where we all meet up. There's a great Reddit as well. But if you're new to our campaigns, this is how it's going to work from here. So you've pledged on Kickstarter. In about 3 to 5 weeks, we are going to get the information and the money from Kickstarter saying these are the people who backed, give them their stuff. Around that time, we should have some initial files ready for you guys to download. So you'll get an email at the email you use for Kickstarter. Use that email if you already have it to sign up on peginc.com. because that's where your initial file delivery will be. And we'll email everybody. There'll be an update on the Kickstarter. So do watch the first updates. But we will start delivering your files on pegging.com through a platform called our Game Changer. You will be able to upgrade from there. So you'll be able to add on things that you didn't get during the campaign. The upgrade window will be many months, probably at least 6 or 7 months or more, while we get feedback from you guys. So we'll put out a release. You guys will be able to download the PDFs. You can go over and find the little spelling errors or give us feedback on anything else we might have missed. And right? Yeah, I mean, our writing is almost perfect, but yeah, when it's not. And there will, within those PDFs, there will be a link to give us feedback on a feedback form, and then there is also for more things that you need to explain that don't work on the form. There is a forum at pegging.com. And
there's two. Like you missed a period on page 34. That we're just going to put in a spreadsheet and we'll fix it. But like, I don't like your take, like Cthulhu should have a weakness to steam ships or whatever that you'd put a post on, and we'll let people kind of discuss like, oh, maybe that's fair. Or like, no, come on, no, and then.
Right. And there's usually really great discussions that go on there between the designers and fans. And because we're going to be doing both the horror and Pinebox, there should be ample opportunity for you guys to get your voices heard on the feedback. And then when we get close, once the files are sent off to the printer, we close down the feedback. And then it's just a several month wait from there to get this stuff printed and shipped and in the warehouse. And so that's how that works, guys. So if you're a brand new customer, you got to wait for probably about a month at least. And then we'll be in touch when you can start playing around on pegging.com. Until then, do go over and get your sign up on pegging.com with the same email address from your Kickstarter. And you can start seeing all the other great stuff. Like you can pick up the ETU stuff, which is available, or the 2 previous companions, one of which is already shipped out, and another one which is very close to shipping. We're printing, or somewhere it's printing now, and then it'll be a couple weeks to for it to get here. But the prior 2 companions are really great, and we should hopefully. Some people have been asking for that continuation of our Rifts actual play. Since there is a Rifts Kickstarter, I'm sure we can get a Rifts actual play up here in the next couple of weeks. But other than that, you're going to see us again on Game Changer with a Rifts offering, which is going to be Terror on the Dark Frontier and South America. And we're going to give you plenty of weeks to get behind that one. So
that'll be a multiple month one to give people time, because it's Christmas. We know everyone's budgets are going to be crunched. Like it's.
Yep, and then in the brand new year, Tracy, the project you worked on, Holler, is going to be shipping out to people, which is going to be fantastic.
I'm so excited! I got to see the unboxing. I was just so excited.
Right? The coins came out amazing and thick, and then there's like 4 sheets of pawns. And the leatherette cover with a cute little owl on the back and the big tree in the front. I just love what everybody's done on that. That one's a real labor of love. So we'll get Tracy and Tim back on to talk about that when they get their hands on their copies, and you guys do too.
If we can corral Tim,
I was saying, unless Tim's running a marathon somewhere.
No. We're gonna force it on him. We're gonna do it.
I mean, that dude. I mean, besides, I had to trim my beard just so there wasn't any chance of competing. Right? No, can't even. No. He does Muay Thai now. He's like kicking people in the face. It's like
he is. He totally is.
How many Appalachian poets do you know that also kick people in the face?
As far as I know, it's like 100%. Right?
Right? We know all of them. We have the
Tim's like actively looking for bears, which that's what I'm worried about.
That's true.
Right?
He does that too.
Yeah, me too. Different kind of bear, but whatever.
No good. Bears are no good, man.
And then a big thing that Brian made sure that I read it. Next year is the 20th anniversary of Savage Worlds. So we are going to try to get an in-person. I think we're going to go rock Gen Con. So I hope all the people on screen here will join us for Gen Con, and we'll actually do some good magic there. And then besides that, though, I think we also want to get together and we're figuring out the logistics on that now. But it'll be a big 2023 for us. Not to mention, Brian's new project, which is a Deadlands project, and then Daryl's project, which is a martial arts project, and then we might even have a lead to get Scott writing again. I haven't even told Scott this, but there's something that might work
Your
out.
name definitely came up for something,
right?
So
So
we'll have to talk.
Right, we will. So hopefully that comes through. It's interesting.
Better than you think.
Right? It might be good. It might be good, Scott. It might be good. And and of course we're not gonna not see Tracy around because she's doing amazing work polishing a lot of our projects. So it's a whole lot of good stuff in the new year. And then other than that, guys, thank you for the big Kickstarter. We're gonna get you let's get back to your families, but over 1,700 backers is a great number for us. That's a big success.
Yeah.
Shane sends his love. He is currently traveling. And then from Jody and Clint and Mike Barbeau and Simon, who are doing the Doomguard board game thing at BGG-Con. If you're in Texas, stop in, play it. Let us know how it plays. Other than that, folks, I think we're all going to go and have a good night. So appreciate you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.